Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with Serkworks Art Labs, welcoming you once again to the underground laboratory where we create robots, alien zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And today we're going to be doing a little gene splicing, and we're going to be mashing up together two Miscrits from the popular online game Miscrits and creating a brand new, even more powerful Miscrit. We've done this a few times in the past, and we've just got so many creatures to choose from. We've got this vast Miscripedia of all these different Miscrits, so who do we pick? I don't know. Well, that's where you guys come in, and you guys have been sending in your suggestions, and man, there's so many good ones, and just really difficult to pick. Yeah, so we have so many awesome suggestions sent in by YouTubers via the comments section. I really do appreciate it. It's really hard to pick which one, but this week we're kind of going a different route. I picked somebody who sent in a suggestion, but we'll see. We kind of modified it just a bit, so hopefully you don't mind. But the original suggestion came in from iRedTNT, who suggested that I combine Patrick and Flintley. Now, I mentioned that I already did Patrick, and you know, I'd rather use different, like, new Miscrits and everything. So then iRedTNT suggested that I use Poltergust. Now, Poltergust is one of my all-time favorite Miscrits. I mean, I just love the design. If you're not familiar, it's sort of based on, like, Roman, got kind of Roman armor, but it's a ghost, so the armor is just kind of floating, and there's really nothing there but, like, mist and everything, and it's one of the first... it might be the first, one of the first wind type Miscrits. But I really like the designed by Christopher Mendoza, and so I said, yeah, I'll definitely do something with Poltergust. So the suggestion, I don't know if the suggestion was to use was to use Poltergust and Flintley, and I looked at both of those and I was kind of battling because one is wind, one is fire, and it seems in some ways it sort of cancels each other out. I was trying to draw it seems like every time I would do a sketch with like the fire and draw the wind, it just didn't seem like it fit the right, fit in the same it just didn't work. So anyway, so what I did was I am going to still use Poltergust, but I'm going to kind of use it with another Miscrit that I thought might work a little better. Hopefully you guys agree. I'm going to use a Miscrit that I created called Frostmite. Now, but I'm not using Poltergust and Frostmite because, as you guys know, each Miscrit has 4 different evolutions, so I've decided to go big with this one and go 4th evolution. So we're going to go with Frostmite's 4th evolution, Abomino, and Poltergust's 4th evolution, Zephyrgeist. So you're really excited. This one, I think this one's going to turn out really good. So let's get to the drawing board and find out. Alright, so here we go with our trusty natural color paper that I've been using on pretty much all the Miscrits. I think it's Kona brand, but you can use whatever brand you want. And I'm using my Colorase pencils, and this time I'm using blue, which usually I've been doing red. Now, I think the red probably shows up a little better on video, so I have to apologize because the blue might be a little hard to see. As we go on, it'll get a little darker because I'll start fleshing out the design and everything. But I decided to go with blue on this one just because pretty much this creature it's going to be more of a colder look to it because it's based on a lot of it's based on Wendigo, which is sort of an abominable snowman, like a Yeti kind of design. So I thought to keep the background, because sometimes the pencils kind of show through and everything, and I do like that when I'm drawing. I do kind of like when the pencils do show through, just because it gives it's sort of that original look to it. So so people can tell, they can see sort of the underdrawing a little bit and everything. So I don't really mind it. Sometimes people, once they ink a drawing, they'll go in and erase the pencils. But now if I was working on a comic book, which I also do, in that case I don't like the pencils to show through. But if I want to get that kind of sketchy look, then I really don't mind that, and I think it adds to it. So, but anyway, yeah, just switching the color up a little bit so it's got that cooler color, so you're not going to see any reds come through, because there really won't be too many reds. Maybe a little pink in the nose, because the Wendigo, or well, I say Wendigo, actually Wendigo is the 2nd evolution, but when I was designing that creature, that was the first one I drew, and that happens a lot. Because sometimes, when you have to do these 4 different evolutions, sometimes when you do a sketch, at least when I do a sketch, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it doesn't. That first one really doesn't look like a first evolution, because usually it's better to sort of go somewhere in the middle, and since you're doing 4, not 5, there really isn't technically a middle. So either, a lot of times my first original drawing will either be the 3rd evolution or the 2nd evolution, because then you can kind of go backwards, and it kind of informs where the drawing is going to go. You can, if you pick somewhere in the middle, it's easier, at least for me, to take a step back and say, oh, let's subtract some stuff from this design and make it a little simplified, make it a little smaller, and then, or when you're doing the later evolutions, kind of add to it and make it bigger and add more things to it. So I would say, I don't know, 7 or 8 times out of 10, it's usually, I start with one of the middle evolutions. So now the other design is one that Chris Mendoza did, and again, it's probably, if I had to pick one Miscrit, especially one that I didn't design myself, that I don't have that kind of attachment to, because you always have your own personal favorites when you're, because you have that experience of working on it and everything. But I think Poltergust is one of my favorites, favorite Miscrits and everything. I remember when Chris first designed it, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, this brings this up to it. It's just a whole nother level, So I really do like the design of just this kind of ethereal ghost-looking thing, but then the armor is physical and real. So you've got this ghost power, but then say like the gloves and everything will be armored, and the armored, chest plate and everything. But really cool design. So I do like that. But so now we kind of moved on to the inks, and I'm just using my trusty Deleter Black No. 5 ink and my Winsor Newton Series 7, and I think it's a No. 1 brush that I'm using. And now on to some markers. This here's is it Spectrum? No, not Spectrum. Is it Spectrum? Maybe it is Spectrum. Yeah, Spectrum markers, and then I'm also using Copics, however you want to pronounce it, and also some of the Pantone markers, so the Trias. So just laying down some of my base coat yellow, and then kind of going back, and I don't know if it's the way the camera's picking this up. It's not exactly the color. Some of it has to do with the color paper, but I don't know. In person, it looks a lot better. But we'll see kind of how it goes as we color on. So, but oh yeah, another So this is sort of a combination of 2 of my favorite Miscrits. Like one of the favorites that I've done, and one of the favorites that are just all-time favorites that Chris has done. So this is a really cool one. So I'm really psyched about this particular drawing. But I remember when I was designing Frostmite and Windigrue, Snow Squatch, and Abomino, which this one's based on Abomino, but these are all the 4 evolutions of Frostmite. And I was thinking, so I want to do this kind of Yeti creature, but I'm thinking, what if it builds its habitat or its homestead out of snow, like an igloo or something? And so I was thinking like beavers. Well, beavers, they build dams and they use their tail, their kind of that beaver tail, to pat down, the twigs and everything, and compact, when they're building dams and things. So I thought, well, that would be a cool tool, and it's something I don't, to my knowledge. I mean, really, I think the only kind of animal to have that tail are beavers and certain things like that. But it seems like a snow animal. That would be a good feature for an animal that kind of lives in the snow, to use that kind of beaver-like tail to kind of pat down its these snows and big igloo and build like igloos and things like that. So that was part of it. The other thing was sort of kind of got a bunny feel with the big long ears, and of course I wanted big giant claws like I don't know, armadillo, or I don't know, shrews or whatever, have those big kind of claws for digging and everything like that. So but I really, those are some of my inspirations behind that. And those are the things you think about when you're designing these creatures, is kind of what in nature, what animals have, and what's the purpose, and how can that fit into this particular design. So, and another reason why I really like this creature is because, you know, when I was working at Broken Bulb, you know, people would do all kinds of fan art and stuff, and it's really cool. It was really cool to receive fan art from other people, you know, creating the Miscrits and things like that. But one thing I got, and I still have it, unfortunately it's a little damaged, but there was a Miscrit fan who was also a sculptor, and she sent me, her name is Heather, and she sent me a little Frostmite sculpt that she made, and it was so cool. And unfortunately the ear broke off in the tail, so I'm gonna have to glue it back on if I have all the pieces. If not, I might have to see if I can fashion together, you know, another piece myself. But it's really cool, and I still have it, and it's cool when you get stuff like that. I mean, it really just, you know, something like that from a fan, for them to take the time to do something like that. So it's always on my desk and everything, even though it's missing the ear and the tail. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. So that's another reason why the Wendigrue or Frost, I keep saying Wendigrue again because that was the first evolution I did, and that was what I originally named it. But Frostmite, then Wendigrue, then Snow Squatch, then Abomino. Yeah, so that was a really cool gift, and I've got that on my desk. So it's cool to kind of go back to this creature and kind of combine it with some, you know, some other creatures, and just kind of create these Miscrit mashups. I'm really having a lot of fun with them. So now I'm using my Sino gel pen to kind of go around, and this kind of pops it up off that kind of natural color background, just to kind of give a little oomph. And this one's a little different because I didn't want to go around like the wind part, because I want that to look a little more misty. So just the solid shapes I'm going around. And so anyway, yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Keep sending in those suggestions. We got a lot of them, so we won't be able to get to them all, but hopefully I'll pick yours. And again, this has been a blast. This is one of my favorites that I've done so far, and thanks, and I'll see you guys later. And that is all.